Guess they hire anyone now. Captain Ethan Blackwell's voice cut through the Friday night buzz of the Pacific Watch like a blade through silk. Sharp, deliberate, and loud enough for 40 people to hear. Jessica Reed didn't flinch. She was on her knees, surrounded by shattered glass and spreading pools of amber liquid. 6, maybe 7 pint glasses lay broken across the scuffed hardwood floor of the bar just outside Naval Amphibious Base Pearl Harbor. Her hands moved methodically, picking up the larger shards first, depositing them into her black plastic tray with practiced efficiency. The bar, wood-paneled, held decades of Navy history. Jessica's uniform was simple. Black polo shirt with the Pacific Watch logo stitched over the heart. Dark jeans, non-slip shoes. Her long, fiery red hair was pulled back into a tight bun. At 5'4", she was unremarkable in a room full of warriors. Easy to overlook, easy to underestimate. Ethan leaned back in his chair, arms crossed over a chest that spoke of hours in the gym. He was 38, built like a linebacker, and wore his SEAL Trident over his heart like armor. I mean, seriously, Ethan continued, playing to his audience of 4 other SEALs. Standards must be slipping. Next thing you know, they'll let anyone serve us. Jessica's jaw tightened, then smoothly relaxed. Her amber brown eyes remained fixed on the task. Her breathing came automatically. 4 seconds in through the nose, 4 seconds hold. 4 seconds out through the mouth, 4 seconds hold. The pattern her father taught her. Then she saw it. The ring. It had rolled under Ethan's chair, barely visible in the dim lighting. Silver, but not the cheap kind. The metal caught what little light filtered down from the overhead fixtures, throwing back a dull gleam. Jessica's hand froze for half a second, long enough for her pulse to skip, not long enough for anyone to notice. She reached for it. Slow, careful. Her fingertips brushed the cold metal just as Ethan's boot came down, trapping her hand against the floor. Not hard enough to hurt, hard enough to make a point. Well, well. Ethan bent forward. What do we have here? He lifted his boot, and Jessica pulled her hand back. The ring came with it, clasped between her thumb and forefinger. She rose to her feet, in one smooth motion. Ethan plucked it from her grasp. Nice prop. He held it up to the light, turning it slowly. The trident gleamed. Eagle, anchor, and pistol, all forged into a single symbol. The wear patterns along the edges spoke of years, not weeks. Ethan's smile didn't reach his eyes. eBay special? Give it back. Jessica's voice was low, controlled. Why? Ethan tilted his head. This yours? Because last I checked, you're serving drinks, not diving in Hawaii. It belonged to my father. Funny, my father used to say that too. He paused, letting the silence stretch, before he realized lying about service is a federal offense. Jessica's hand didn't waver. I'm not lying. Sure you're not. Ethan tossed the ring into the air, caught it. Tell you what, you want this back? Prove it's legit. Otherwise, he slipped it into his pocket. Finders keepers. In the corner booth near the bar's front window, a man who had been nursing the same beer for an hour straightened slightly. Master Chief Vincent Garrett, retired, aged 65, wearing a worn leather jacket over a faded SEAL veteran t-shirt, turned his weathered face toward the commotion. His eyes narrowed. Jessica holds Ethan's gaze for 3 seconds. Then she turns and walks toward the back. Her hands are steady. The tray of broken glass doesn't rattle. Ease up, Blackwell. The voice comes from a booth near the back wall. Deeper. Older. Commander Jackson Rivers sits with 2 other officers, all in civilian clothes, but carrying themselves like they're still in uniform. Jackson, 52, with gray threading through his close-cropped hair, lifts his water glass, takes a slow sip. The lady's just trying to do her job. Just calling it like I see it, sir. Ethan's tone carries the barest edge of respect. Stolen valor is everywhere these days. Jackson says nothing, but Jessica notices his eyes follow her, calculating, considering. The kitchen is all stainless steel and harsh fluorescent lighting. Jessica moves to the small employee break room off to the side, a closet-sized space with a single folding chair. She pulls a small cloth from her pocket, unfolds it carefully. Inside sits an identical ring. The real one, the one Ethan just pocketed, is a replica swapped so smoothly that no one noticed. Sleight of hand, learned from a father who believed in redundancy. Jessica cleans the ring with slow, deliberate strokes. The trident catches the light. Her thumb traces the worn inscription on the inner band. Letters so small they're almost invisible. Nathan Kingston, Ghost 7. "Not yet, Dad," she whispers. 2 hours later, the Pacific Watch was packed shoulder to shoulder. Friday night and payday had created the perfect storm of noise and chaos. Jessica moved through the crowd with practiced efficiency, delivering drinks while always watching, always listening. Vincent Garrett had shifted from his corner booth to the bar itself, positioning himself with a clear line of sight to Ethan's table. When Jessica passed close enough, he spoke without turning, his voice a gravelly whisper beneath the surrounding din. "Your father was Ghost 7, Nathan Kingston, one of the best operators I ever knew. We served together for 12 years. I watched him become one of the finest SEALs in the teams." Jessica didn't stop moving, but a slight tremor ran through her hand holding the tray. "He died in Afghanistan. The official ledger recorded equipment failure during a night operation. 8 men lost." Vincent took a slow, deliberate sip. "But that's not the complete ledger, is it?" "No, it's not. And I'm here because the man who orchestrated my father's death is sitting 20 feet away, wearing a uniform he desecrates." Vincent nodded slowly, a deep understanding in his weathered eyes. "Whatever you're planning, girl, make it count, because you'll only get one shot." "I intend to." Commander Jackson Rivers appeared at Jessica's elbow. "Miss Kingston, could I have a word?" Jessica followed him to a quiet alcove. Jackson studied her face before speaking. "Nathan Kingston was under my command when he died. I knew something was wrong with the official report. The timeline didn't add up. The equipment failures were too convenient." "Then why didn't you say something?" "I tried. My commanding officer shut down every inquiry I attempted." Jackson's jaw tightened. "But I never forgot. And I never stopped looking for answers." "I know who." Jessica's voice was steady. "Captain Ethan Blackwell was part of it. He received payments to falsify reports, and behind him is someone bigger, someone with enough power to bury the truth for 10 years. "How do you know this?" "My father left evidence hidden, encrypted." Jessica touches the chain beneath her shirt. "He spent his last hours building a case. He knew he'd never get to prosecute, so he left it for me." "What kind of evidence?" "Recordings, documents, financial records showing a fraud scheme, communications logs, enough to convict a dozen people. And tonight, I'm going to expose all of it." "How?" "Watch and learn, Commander. Just be ready when it happens." At 10:30, the lights dim slightly. The jukebox cuts out, replaced by the sharp feedback of a microphone. Every head turns toward the small stage area where Jessica stands, holding a wireless microphone, a laptop open on the table beside her. "Can I have everyone's attention, please?" "What the hell?" Ethan starts to stand, but Vincent Garrett has materialized behind him, one hand on his shoulder, pressing him back down. "Sit tight, Captain. I think you'll want to hear this. My name is Jessica Kingston." She corrects the name used in the original text to maintain narrative consistency with the family name, while keeping the character as Jessica Reed. "Most of you know me as a waitress here. What you don't know is that I'm the daughter of Master Chief Nathan Kingston, call sign Ghost 7. He died 10 years ago in Afghanistan, along with 7 other members of his SEAL team. The official report called it equipment failure. Tragic. Unavoidable." She pauses. "That report was a lie." The room explodes into murmurs. Jessica raises her hand. My father knew he was being set up. He knew someone in the command structure was dirty, so he documented everything, recorded everything, encrypted everything, and he left it for someone who could finish what he started. She touches the laptop. This contains everything. Procurement fraud, falsified equipment reports, communication showing deliberate intelligence manipulation, and at the center of it all, Jessica turns to face Ethan. Captain Ethan Blackwell. That's insane! Ethan's voice is loud, aggressive. I don't know what kind of game you're playing. Of taking bribes to falsify equipment reports, Jessica's voice cuts through. Of accepting payment to look the other way when weapons and gear were replaced with substandard knockoffs. Of providing false intelligence that led 8 men into an ambush. Prove it. Actually, I can. Jessica clicks the laptop. Because my father recorded your conversations with Colonel Marcus Steele, all of them. The recording that plays is crystal clear. Ethan's voice, younger but unmistakable. The financial details need to be adjusted before the audit. If anyone starts asking questions about the equipment discrepancies. Another voice, older, commanding. Let me worry about questions. Your job is to make sure the paperwork matches the story we're telling. I can do it, but if this comes back on me, it won't. We've been running this operation for months now, and even if someone started asking questions, they'd have to go through channels that we control. What about Kingston? He's been looking at the inventory reports. Then we deal with Kingston. We use the Afghanistan operation. Send his team in with the compromised equipment. Make it look like combat losses. Relay the coordinates. Let nature take its course. And Steele's chilling final warning. Blackwell, if you ever breathe a word of this, remember that I have recordings of every payment you accepted. You're in this as deep as I am. The recording ends. Details emerge. Payments, falsified documents, equipment swapped out for cheaper alternatives. The final conversation confirmed the deliberate sabotage that positioned Ghost Team for an ambush and ensured the equipment failures weren't failures at all, but calculated murder. The bar exploded with movement. SEALs surged toward Ethan, their voices overlapping in a furious din. Jackson Rivers stepped between them, arms out. Stand down, all of you. This is not how we handle this. Ethan looked around wildly. That recording is fake. Anyone can fake audio these days. The metadata checks out, Jessica's voice cut through the chaos. Timestamps, encryption signatures, chain of custody documentation. My father knew someone was dirty, so he recorded everything and left it for someone who could finish the job. Who was giving orders? Jackson demanded, his voice tight. Who was it? Ethan's face crumbled. Colonel Marcus Steele, he confessed, his voice barely audible. He was in charge of procurement for Special Operations Command, running a fraud scheme, selling equipment to contractors, buying cheaper replacements, pocketing the difference. Kingston found discrepancies, started asking questions. Steele needed him gone, and you helped him. I didn't have a choice, Ethan's shout was desperate. Steele had evidence I'd taken bribes, small ones at first, but enough to end my career. He owned me. You had a choice. Jessica's voice was quiet, but everyone heard it. You chose your career over 8 lives. You chose money over brothers. You chose to let my father die rather than face consequences. I'm sorry, Ethan whispered, sounding genuine and broken. I've lived with this every single day. Don't, Jackson cut him off. 8 men died. 8 families were destroyed. He pulled out his phone. Base Security Commander Jackson Rivers. I need military police at the Pacific Watch, immediately. I have a captain in custody pending court-martial for criminal negligence and conspiracy to commit murder. Minutes later, 3 military police officers arrived. They took Ethan into custody. As they led him past Jessica, he stopped. For what it's worth, your father was the best of us. He deserved better. He did, Jessica replied. And now everyone will know that. They took him, Ethan Blackwell, away. Jackson turns to face the crowd. Listen up. What you witnessed tonight is classified. Do not discuss this outside secure channels. This is an active investigation. Operational security applies. Understood? A chorus of, "Yes, sir," replies. Jackson turns to Jessica. "Walk with me." They step outside into the cool night air. The fog has rolled in thick. Jackson leads her toward the parking lot. "Your father recruited you before he died?" "Not exactly." Jessica pulls her jacket tighter. "He left instructions. Contingencies. He knew something might happen, so he prepared me, trained me without me realizing it. Left clues I wouldn't understand until I was ready. I've spent 10 years preparing for this moment." "And Steele? Do you know where he is?" "Retired. Lives in Honolulu. Gated community in Kahala." Jessica recites the address. "I've been watching him for 3 months." Jackson pulls out his phone, makes a call. "This is Commander Rivers. I need Naval Criminal Investigative Service, NCIS, dispatched to Kahala. Subject is retired Colonel Marcus Steele, wanted for conspiracy, fraud, and accessory to murder of 8 Navy SEALs." He provides the address. "They'll have him in custody within the hour." "Good. Your father was my mentor, my friend. When he died, I knew something was wrong." Jackson's voice catches. "But I had no proof, no leverage." He looks at the ring. He really left all that evidence, everything. Jessica slips the ring back onto its chain. He spent his last hours building a case he knew he'd never get to prosecute. "So you did it for him. I did it for the truth. And because 8 men deserve justice." "What will you do now?" "I want my father's name cleared. I want the record to show that Ghost Team died because of corruption, not incompetence. And I want every person involved held accountable." "You'll get that. I promise." They step outside into the cool night air. The fog has rolled in thick. Jackson leads her toward the parking lot. "Your father recruited you before he died?" "Not exactly." Jessica pulls her jacket tighter. "He left instructions, contingencies. He knew something might happen, so he prepared me, trained me without me realizing it. Left clues I wouldn't understand until I was ready. I've spent 10 years preparing for this moment." "And Steele? Do you know where he is?" "Retired. Lives in Honolulu. Gated community in Kahala." Jessica recites the address. "I've been watching him for 3 months." Jackson pulls out his phone, makes a call. "This is Commander Rivers. I need Naval Criminal Investigative Service, NCIS, dispatched to Kahala. Subject is retired Colonel Marcus Steele, wanted for conspiracy, fraud, and accessory to murder of 8 Navy SEALs." He provides the address. "They'll have him in custody within the hour." "Good. Your father was my mentor, my friend. When he died, I knew something was wrong." Jackson's voice catches. "But I had no proof, no leverage." He looks at the ring. He really left all that evidence, everything. Jessica slips the ring back onto its chain. He spent his last hours building a case he knew he'd never get to prosecute. "So you did it for him. I did it for the truth. And because 8 men deserve justice." "What will you do now?" "I want my father's name cleared. I want the record to show that Ghost Team died because of corruption, not incompetence. And I want every person involved held accountable." "You'll get that. I promise." Jackson extends his hand. "Your father would be proud." "Thank you, Commander." She climbs into her car, starts the engine. As she is pulling out, her phone buzzes. Text message. Unknown number. "Ghost 7. Tower 4 sends regards. Your father's last target is still active. Coordinates attached." A file downloads automatically. Jessica pulls over, opens it. Inside are satellite images, geographic coordinates, and a name. Senator Helena Crawford, Defense Appropriations Committee. Jessica realizes Crawford is a key link in the conspiracy. Jessica replies, "Who is this?" 3 dots appear. Then, "A friend of your father's, someone who has been watching, waiting." The coordinates lead to evidence Crawford buried 15 years ago. Evidence that will bring down the entire conspiracy, but you'll need to move fast. She knows Blackwell was arrested. She's already covering her tracks. Jessica sits in her car, the ring warm against her chest. She types back, "How much time do I have?" Response, 72 hours, maybe less. After that, the evidence disappears forever. Jessica shifts her car into drive, heading toward the coordinates. Because this isn't over. The truth isn't fully exposed, and Ghost 7's daughter has work to finish. As she drives through the fog-shrouded streets, her phone buzzes again. A voicemail. Vincent Garrett's gravelly voice fills the car. "Miss Kingston, wanted you to know. Words spreading fast. Seals are talking. Your father's being remembered the way he deserves, as a hero, as a man who died trying to stop corruption." A pause. "He left you his dog tags. Been keeping them safe all these years. Figure it's time you had them. Stop by tomorrow. I'll be at the bar." The message ends. Jessica drives on. The ring pulses warm against her skin, and somewhere ahead in the fog and the darkness, the next target waits.